Record. Okay.
Record.
We're recording.
Yeah.
This is our first Zoom call.
This is.
Like,
How
I don't know,
hard
we
is
didn't
it
think
for
of this
you?
before. And
Well,
all the
we
time.
have. We just don't invest the time or allocate the,
That is true. And how many people have reached out to us over the last
and
2
asked
years
us
and
if we
said,
could do Zoom
hey,
calls.
we're like, no.
We don't do that. We prefer to do in person. So, whatever.
I know. And you know what else is funny? Is my girlfriends, my 2 girlfriends from high school, we get together. We try to get together. And then last year we went to New Orleans.
Yeah.
I think it's 2 years ago now. We went to New Orleans. Never in the normal life of chaos and all of that have we ever thought, oh, let's do a Zoom happy hour. It took something like this for us to get this thought. And it was so much fun. It was so perfect. And I thought, why in almost 25 years, okay, let's go with 15 because we haven't had the capability for 25 years, but why have we not thought to do this? It takes
Why have we never done this? Yeah.
It takes a crisis, but whatever.
I know. It's so silly too, because it's like, oh, it's that easy to just FaceTime my family. Oh, it's that easy to just FaceTime my friends and like hang out with them. And then when I hang up the phone, I'm in my house. Oh,
like
yeah, that's terrible.
Kind of cool.
I love it.
I am too. It's one of the things I want to talk about today is just the beautiful things that we are being exposed to now that I think has been lost in the chaos and the busyness and just the pace of our lives that we've had over the last forever. Things are starting to slow down a little bit, not by choice.
I know.
And unfortunately, not because of a good thing, but it's bringing about some good things.
That's what I was going to say. I feel like, sure, like the reason might not be good, but like the result has been good.
For sure.
Yeah. And it's funny because I used to think, I told Matt this the other day. I used to think that, people that bought really big, extravagant houses, not you're not included because you don't have like a media room and a, basketball court or something in your house. But like people like that, I used to think, man, like, those people have so much money. Why would they buy a big house like that? Because they could just go to the movie theater. Or they could just go to the basketball court. They could go to the gym. Look at them now.
They're like living their best life.
Living their best life. They have a gym in their house. They have a movie theater, what do they call that? A media room.
Oh, yeah.
They have this, they have that. Like they have all this stuff. So they don't even need to leave.
But the question is that I'm curious about is, yes, they have all of these things and no, they don't need to leave, but have they learned to reconnect, to utilize those things as a family?
Yes.
And most likely, yes. And that's the beautiful thing through all of this is families are being forced to reconnect. They're being forced to communicate. I love that. I think that's beautiful. And I love to see, okay, I know there's going to be a lot of probably hate mail from this comment, but I love to see all the families like out at the park and people walking their dog and okay, fine, you're not supposed to be at the park, whatever. But I just love the reconnection. I've never seen the park so full. I've never seen as many families there as I've seen over the last.
Like walking the trails and going on, and taking the dog for a walk and whatever.
They're supposed to be home, but big picture here.
Yeah.
Families are reconnecting. They are.
Well, they're supposed. Yeah, and it's like we're not like Italy to where we're on full lockdown and we're going to get a ticket if we leave our house yet. Right. But like, I spent the last week in Fort Worth, and for the like 3 out of the 4 days or whatever, we went to the Trinity Trails, which everybody was being super respectful, keeping their distance. Like no one was getting too close to each other, and we were just able to like walk for like 2 hours and just
I love that. I went for a walk yesterday. I did stay off the trail. I just walked on the sidewalk because there were so many people at the park. And I just thought, I'm just going to walk over here. So I'm not trying to be weird, but just respectful of the situation. But when I see kids climbing on the park stuff, that's kind of when I'm like,
Nope. No. Well, the park at the trails was closed. So the kids' park was closed. Yeah. So we weren't able to do that. Well, we didn't even have Chloe, but we weren't able to do that. But I don't feel comfortable taking her to a park yet just because it's not clean,
That's the thing.
Like we would definitely go for a walk.
Be cool with that. But yes, I'll go again today. I have been going for walks every day, but and getting a little vitamin D.
Exactly. Which is huge.
I
Huge deal.
read something. I don't know if Taylor said she wasn't able to open it. I put something on Facebook yesterday talking about Gen Xers, baby boomers, and millennials.
Yeah, I couldn't open it either.
Some could, some couldn't. So it was really funny. Look at that. The different generations and how they're handling, come from a collective perspective, being shut in. So millennials and boomers are struggling because they like to be out. They're very social. They're very, like they're partiers. Gen Xers, it just goes into all the, how we were the first latchkey generation. And so we know what it's like to come home to nothing and nobody.
Yep.
And
be at home.
Entertainment, right? We had
and
to
be okay with being at home.
I mean, our choice of toys, if you will, at one point in time was a pet rock and a chia pet. So I mean, we're not looking for a lot of engagement.
You're like, for Christmas, I asked for a pet rock. Okay, that is what I did.
Well, I did, and I got it, and it had a little pouch, and I painted it. I was so excited. That was my generation. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Why do we lack creativity? I don't know. Talk to the people who market it to us.
Oh, you're not like a creative, that you don't label yourself a creative? Actually, you are, because you have a podcast, so you are a creative.
Thank you.
But yeah, so, and I love seeing it. You bring a good, like you make a good point when you say, like, I love seeing all these families reconnecting and all these people talking to each other. That's all we see. That's all we saw on the trails, which is like couples and families walking with each other. And that's like what I appreciate about being home too. Is just like, man, all of the distractions have been eliminated.
Yeah.
So now we get to like
and eating together and just a lot of togetherness. And I'm actually loving seeing that and watching some of the posts. I am just dying on Facebook. Like I scroll through and just laugh out loud because the things that people are coming up with are so funny. Like the memes and the coping mechanisms and the things that people are doing. It is hilarious. And if you're not on TikTok yet, y'all, get on TikTok because families are doing the funniest things together right now. And it's hilarious. It's wildly entertaining.
And also awesome.
It is. It's a lot of fun. And then I've also been reading a lot, which is awesome.
I'm so jealous. How's that going?
Oh, so great.
Are you just loving it?
Yes. Do you want to see the books I've read or I'm reading?
Yes.
Okay, so this is one of my favorites. I don't know if you can see it. It's called Don't Give Up, Don't Give In. It's Louie Zamperini. He had a movie, Unbroken. And Unbroken.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Watch it. Oh my goodness, watch it. It's so good. But anyway, it's about his life. This man, I am telling you something. He was an Italian immigrant in the U.S. as a child. Didn't even speak English at first. And this is back in the 30s, maybe 30s. I'm trying to think when he was a child. But anyway, long story short, he was in trouble all the time. He was smoking and constantly in trouble with the police, intentionally trying to get in trouble to get attention. And then his older brother gets a hold of him. He's like, you got to get your life together, bud. You're going to wind up, working in a factory or in jail. Like these are options. Not that working in a factory is bad, but he was like, we want more for you. And so
of course
he gets him running. At least I guess he noticed him running from the police and he's like, dude, you can run. So let's get you in track. So long story short, he becomes an Olympic athlete. And then he goes to war. He's drafted into World War II, and he is in one of his plane crashes as he's sent out on a rescue mission. He's out to sea, like literally living on a raft with two other soldiers for 30 days or so. So he tells that story. So it's like there's all of these little stories of survival, and it's like, how did he make it through? And he comes out not just this amazingly positive, inspirational, motivational human being. There's more things that happen to him though. He gets rescued eventually by Japanese of all people. And
of course.
He's a prisoner of war for 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
The whole thing. And that's what the movie's about. You're gonna watch it. But anyway, so this is his book that he wrote. I think he was in his 90s. A man named David Resin came to his house and was like, let's do this. Before you pass away, what's your secret? And the guy he lived to be in his 90s and never slowed down and just continued to like give back to the world. So it's one good one. And then have you ever read The 4 Agreements?
No.
Okay. Read The 4 Agreements. I'm going to tell you what they are.
Okay.
I'm not going to give you any insight. I'm just going to tell you what they are. The first one is be impeccable with your word. So there's a chapter on that. The second is don't take anything personally. There's a chapter on that. The third agreement is don't make assumptions. And the fourth agreement is always do your best. And I'm going to leave it at that. And I'll let you read it.
I'm writing these down. Tell me what the first one's called again.
The first one is don't give up, don't give in.
Okay.
So freaking good. And these are the kind of books that you like write in because you're reading and you're like, oh my gosh, that's so much goodness. I don't want to forget.
You're like, oh, I'm taking notes on that one.
Yeah, for sure. And then
the second one is the 4 agreements.
The 4 agreements, and it's Don Miguel Ruiz, but it doesn't matter. Don't write that down. The 4 agreements will get you there.
Yeah.
And then Tuesdays with Morrie. I posted this on Facebook.
Okay.
A couple weeks ago. I read this book 20 years ago, maybe 15 years ago.
All right.
And then 2 weeks ago, I saw Oprah. You know, she does that little show where she's out in the middle of her
wherever, a field or something.
Her field or whatever. And she's got Mitch Albom and she's interviewing him. And it's like 20 years after the release of the book. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't read that in like 20 years. And so I'm reading it again and I just forgot how beautiful this book is and how beautiful.
How many books are you reading right now?
Well, I've already read those.
Okay.
I'm halfway through this one, but I've read it before. I'm also reading this one. It's called Surrounded by Idiots. And do you want to know what's so beautiful about this book?
What?
It really isn't about idiots. It's about how we think we're surrounded by idiots because we don't understand people. And so this was written by the guy who invented the disc thing. Like,
oh, nice.
Yeah.
Which for people who are listening, the disc is?
Oh, it's a behavior. It's like the 4 types of human behavior, and it kind of puts you in a little bucket, if you will. But if you take a test, it kind of sprinkles you all around all of them. It tells you what your dominant personality is. And
what's yours?
I'm an ID, so which means I've got a D is dominant. So it's here. I can tell you. So Red, he codes these. I don't know when we learned about disc.
Yeah.
They were color coded or not. But D is like dominant personality. He calls it red. Yellow is the I, which stands for
intuitive. No.
Google that while we're talking because I want to make sure that we get it right. And there's actually an episode, y'all, where did I get rid of us?
When we talked to the Sandler trainer.
Can you still see me?
Yes.
Okay, I just can't see you.
You didn't in the Zoom call. You're good. You could go ahead, Jamie. Pull it up.
I remember.
This is Joe Rogan, by the way.
So, anyway,
Jamie is the Googler. Jamie always Googles everything on Joe Rogan.
Well, here we go. I'm Jamie.
Yeah, okay. There you go, Jamie. Go ahead, young Jamie.
I'm young Jamie.
Young Jamie.
C is dominance. I is influence. C is conscientiousness. And S is steadiness. So people that have a lot of red or that are dominant are typically aggressive, ambitious, strong-willed, goal-oriented. They're problem solvers, decisive, impatient, powerful, and they initiate things. They typically it says speed. So we typically talk fast, walk fast, everything's fast. In a conversation with us, you better keep up.
Oh my gosh, you and I aren't Ds at all. What are you talking about?
Well, that's, I think, what we communicate so well because you are such a high D that we are able to communicate. Otherwise, I don't know how this would work.
Otherwise, I got nothing.
So I's, which you and I both have, is talkative, enthusiastic, persuasive, creative, optimistic, encouraging, communicative, flexible, blah, blah, blah. And then we move into what he calls green, but which is, I think this is the conscientiousness. No, this is steadiness. They're patient, relaxed, self-controlled, reliable, lengthy, stable, discreet, good listeners. Reds are not great listeners, or dominant personalities are not typically great listeners. And then he calls it blue, which it's, what is it, steady or conscientiousness? That is systematic, distant, correct, conventional, objective, methodical, follows rules, logical. And so here's my analogy, and I always give this, and I know I've said this maybe twice before on the podcast.
Yeah.
That's like a building is burning down, and this is how the different personalities are going to process the building burning down. The D's are running out the building. Like they're pushing people out of the way, and they're like, follow me if you want, but I'm getting the heck out of Dutch. That's the D's. and the eyes are opening up a bag of marshmallows. They might be walking out of the building, but they're going to have a party while they do it. So like, we're going to have a little party first. And then the C's, like the conscientious ones, they're the ones that are downstairs in the basement looking for the proper way to get out of the burning building while the building's burning down. And then is that right? Or did I have the steadfast ones? It's D.
I think that one is the S, and the C's.
That's the S. The S is, and then the C's are the ones that are putting the vest on.
Yes.
The little orange vest, and like, I'm going to save us all. Just follow me. We're all the little children, women and children. That's them. I'm not that.
Which is funny because you're a high D, high I,
yeah.
But your spouse is C. Like a 100% a C. Yeah.
Total C, right?
So how does that like affect, how does that affect like, your relationship, and then like not only your relationship, but just the means of communication, like how you guys communicate with each other?
Well, because it's been 21 years, 22 years, if you count how long we've been together.
Yeah.
We've learned, just like we know how to communicate with each other now. We know what works and what doesn't work. But in the beginning, like I thought, I tried leaving him twice in the first like year, because I was like, we can't communicate.
Like, we're just not getting there.
We're not compatible. We of course got past all that, but his style of communication is don't talk about it. Just guess what I'm thinking. It's all in here, and you should read my mind.
And what's your style of communication?
Say everything that is on my mind when it hits my head, and if you're not
immediately, I am not thinking about it. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah, and if you're not,
it comes out the way it comes out.
Right. So over maturity and just growing up, I now know not to do that to anybody, right? Like,
so
I know
you
how to
learned.
communicate.
Yeah. So you learned that with your spouse, but then what about your kids? So the biggest thing that I took away from Sandler and from DISC, D-I-S-C, is learning how to communicate with different styles and different types of people. For the most part, I just you and I communicate very similarly. We say what we think. You know, we're pretty blunt. We're pretty straightforward. But then when communicating with other people, I have to make sure that I kind of like take a step back and maybe repeat what they just said to kind of get clarity or clarification. Yeah. And then from there, I'm like, oh, okay, this is how you think about that. This is what went through your mind when you said that, or whatever, you know?
Well, and that's what the book is about. That's the whole point of the book. And that's why he calls it Surrounded by Idiots. We think we're surrounded by idiots, but we're not. We're not communicating.
We just all communicate differently.
Yes. And we're not appreciating the differences in all of the personalities. And, I have very low tolerance for people who are candid. I don't understand it. I really struggle with it. So if you have a problem with something that I've said or something that I've done, I do not get my feelings hurt. All you have to do is just say, hey, that hurt my feelings, or hey, that was mean, or hey, why did you say that? I'm like, oh yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry, that was dumb. I probably have to be mad at that too. It's people who don't communicate and don't talk and harbor resentment that I just struggle with, because I don't understand that way of thinking.
What did the book teach you about those types of people?
Well, one, that a lot of people are afraid of confrontation, and they just don't.
For sure.
They're afraid. It's insecurity. Most of everything that bothers the other personality type. There's insecurities there, right?
Yeah.
So it just
and like anxiety. Like people have legitimate anxiety about all of that. And I don't even know what that feels like, because I'm just like super straightforward and blunt all the time. Like, oh, should I have thought about what I said before I said it? Because that's just the way my brain thinks, that I just spit it out, whatever it comes to my mind.
Same. But the difference is I don't get my feelings hurt. I mean, hardly ever. So anybody, and I think you've even come to me before and said, you did ... And I know Ryan, who works with me at the office, she comes in at least once a week and she says, you said whatever it is, fill in the blank. And I didn't like that. That did not make me feel good. And and usually my response is, that wouldn't make me feel good either. So my apologies. I'm so sorry. So
I don't know why I said that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny too. I've said some things before to some friends or family members or whatever that really did impact them or affect them negatively, that I didn't think That wasn't my intent.
Well, because,
you know what I mean?
and because it wouldn't hurt your feelings. And so because we don't get our feelings hurt very easily, we forget that some of the things that come out of our mouth can be little daggers that hurt people.
And so
Because
impactful.
it wouldn't hurt me, so I don't even think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this book gives you some little tips, tricks, and tidbits.
I like that.
And then this one is
oh
called.
God, I love you so much.
This
5 books?
It's the
We've
last
been
one.
quarantined for like 2 weeks.
The Power of Moment.
Okay.
I'm only on chapter 4 of this one, and this is Bruce Waller's. He has a book club-ish, I guess you could call it.
Cool.
On Facebook called Climb. And so this is the book that we're reading right now. I have not engaged on that at all. Like I haven't said anything. I'm reading all of his comments and the things that people post, but I personally have not engaged yet. And I'm only on chapter 4. It's pretty cool though. It's basically just teaching us how to create moments, and really what the gist is. If you go back and you think about your life, you're 32, right? And you think about, right? And you think about the last 32 years of your life, you really don't remember a lot. Like there's bits and pieces of your life that you remember in great detail. And then there's things that you kind of remember, and the rest of it's a big, it's haze. Like you just don't remember. Well, this book is all about how to create those moments that we remember, instead of just stumbling across them and just, we're vacations or graduations or weddings, how to create moments in our life that will be memorable for us and other people. So it's pretty cool.
All right.
Yeah.
I would totally read that.
Yeah, it's really, really good. It's probably one that I will write a blog about and just kind of summarize.
Like a blog post.
I don't see it as a book that a lot of people just pick up and read, because it's not about leadership. It's not about blah, blah. It is by default, but
some people like reading about that though. Some people like reading without, a purpose.
Yeah, true.
Just enjoying reading the book. Now that may not be you or I, but
okay, there's one more, but I actually just finished this one. Are you ready?
Oh my God, I love it.
This one is, can you see it?
Yes, you gave me that book and I found it the other day because I've been cleaning my entire apartment.
I'm reading it again, and it's only the 5th time.
Okay.
It's so good, and I get something out of it every time I read it.
Maybe after we read it, we can do like a book review on it, a book review podcast.
We should. And this other book called, honestly, I would read that one too. It's called The Something Experiment. It's the one I took to Mexico and read.
Yeah, you told me about that book last time too, the last episode.
Yeah.
Oh, so hi, we have a guest.
Hi! Oh my goodness.
Isn't she so beautiful?
Yes.
She's the most beautiful.
Mommy?
Yes.
Can you put my hair tie in?
Yes.
This is real life. This isn't just watching him in
April. This is real life. This is quarantine life.
Real life.
Okay, go ahead, baby. You're welcome.
How's she handling it?
She's actually been with her dad for the last week, so we're embarking on that journey tomorrow.
Okay.
And I'm still like, my office is so small. There's only like 5 or 6 people that go into the office.
You may go?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I'm going to take her for the first half of the day and then work from home the second half of the day. I was he gave us the option, 2 Fridays ago to work from home if we wanted to. But I decided to keep going in until last week. He was like, hey, okay, after Monday, he was like, everybody just work from home, whatever. And I got a lot done. I really did. I was super productive, all of that stuff. But I think with her, it would be a nice break to kind of like, because I just, we just get in the car, we go to the office, and then we come home. We don't encounter anybody. My office is super small. So like, there's not even.
You're probably going to be the only one there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's not going to be any like people in the actual building. So it's not like we're going to be in interacting with people or whatever. So yeah, probably for like the first half of the day, and then we'll come home and I'll work from home the rest of the day. But yeah, we got to do something because I don't know.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's a lot.
I shouldn't say babysat. I have Micah here for the night because Taylor and Christian have been kind of holed up in their apartment for, the last 2 weeks without daycare, without anything.
Yeah.
And, we've been quarantined here. And so they're like, can we bring up for night? I'm like, yes. So I finally watched Moana, and I'm sure,
Did you cry?
Yeah, I love it.
For sure.
Love it.
The heart
One,
of Te-Fiti.
let me tell everybody out there what I love about Moana. There isn't a male hero outside of Maui. But
Yeah.
he's not the love interest. He's the partner. He's the male partner, the one who helps her walk side by side to go and defeat this big situation. But he's not the love interest. There is no love interest. She isn't the damsel in distress with the guy who swoops her off her feet and then they get married in the end.
And everything's happily ever after.
Such a breath of fresh air, and I was so happy about it, and I'm gonna watch it again.
Everybody loves Moana. I also love that, like, she's fiercely independent and holds him to what he says he's gonna do. You know what I mean? Like, she's like, I'm doing this with or without you. I need you. I need your help. I need you to be here. But I also love that in the end, the villain was really hurting because she was missing something.
Well, they portrayed that with Maui's character as well. This big, indefeatable, whatever, masculine guy.
Demigod, yeah.
At the end of the day, was actually hurting inside because of his, his mom and dad didn't want him, and he was discarded, and all of that. And so all of these feats and adventures and everything that he had done was to prove to his family that he was worthy, or to the gods that he was worthy.
Yeah.
And I just love how in the end she's like, but you're Maui. Maui did this. Like, and I just love that. And you're right, with the character at the end, or the big villain turns out to be this beautiful thing. I don't know.
Mountain, flower, Mother Nature. I think it was supposed to symbolize Mother Nature, because she was like the stabilizer, right? She was what made everything normal again. But when he took the heart from her, which is essentially like taking, Mother Earth, taking the key away from Mother Earth, she turned into a volcano villain or a volcano person. But then when she was, back and got whenever the heart was returned,
mountain again. Yeah, it was so lovely. I love the story, so much goodness in that. So I know I'm a softie. What can I say? So
what are you gonna do?
I do want to talk a little bit about working from home and how challenging that is for some people and how to get around that. Are you cool if we talk about that a little bit?
For sure.
So
yeah, I want to talk about you. So, and you basically got to work in the podcast room, which
I'm
is funny.
in the podcast room right now. Hello,
yeah, which is
hello.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
Which is funny because when you and I very much feel like I'm an energies person, which I feel like you are too. Like when you and I enter that room, we know that we're going in there to do something. There is work to be done in that room, right?
Right.
So it very much has the vibe.
Actually,
it's the same thing as like when you go into the office. Okay, I'm driving to work now. I'm going to the place where I do work. So when I walk into my office, I'm going to do work. So it's like, that's the struggle I feel like with a lot of people is like, well, when they're at home, this is not where I do work.
Right.
This is where I do home. This is where I watch Netflix and eat food.
I do agree with that. And, here's a funny thing. Over the last couple of weeks, everybody is working from home, but they're still quote unquote working. But yet we are really struggling getting candidates on the phone, getting clients on the phone. Hey, beautiful. And so I really, really think, this is my theory, that nobody's working right now. I think people are acclimating. They've got kids at home, spouses in the house, barking dogs. It's beautiful outside. I really don't. I think this next week, which will be our third week of quarantine, will be very different. I think because you can only do that for so long without the boss going, so
what are you doing?
We still have a job to do.
Yeah,
so
if you want to get paid, you still have to work.
So I think this will be the week where we'll be able to get more people on the phone. They've acclimated. They're starting to get their groove.
Do you feel like I agree and I disagree, but I feel like a lot of people are trying to, of course, they're obviously trying to figure out the balance. They're trying to figure out what works for them and what's working and what is work right now, right?
Yeah.
But do you feel like with your, I guess, when you're referring to calling candidates and clients and stuff like that, do you feel like you're getting more of a response on LinkedIn from people, or do you feel like
100% yes?
Okay, that's what I was going to say.
LinkedIn is blowing up. I told my team, I said, guys, if you're not on LinkedIn, you're missing it, because that is where all my communication has been, all of it. People coming to me reaching out to people. That's where I'm finding the majority of it's social
like that.
media.
It's that beautiful sweet spot. It's that professional social media where I can still be social because it's a social media platform, but I'm technically working because it's LinkedIn. You know, I'm not on Facebook.
Sure.
I'm not on Instagram.
No, but I would agree with that. I told my team I had over 50 people reach out to me last week. Just, hey, I'm, back in the market, or just checking on you, or, hey, I'd like to connect, or whatever it was. I mean, it is a ton of activity. So
Same.
yeah, so I do.
Which is like, it's sad too, because it's a lot of, let's say former clients of mine from like 4 years ago that are like out in the market again. They're looking for jobs because they got laid off.
I know.
But that's even better for, business development for me,
It is. It's sad. I mean, I hate to see people out there without jobs. I hate that. But I do think things will pick back up. And I think a lot of these people were more furloughed than laid off. And I think once it goes back to normal,
it's so hard.
Work. Yeah.
The whole thing is just insane.
It is. The whole thing is just insane. But I don't want to go down that path because it is, I just don't. I want to stay happy.
Okay, let's stay happy.
So back to tips on working from home. So here's a few things that I know have been helpful to me, somebody who does not like to work from home. A remote job is never going to be something that's like a perk for me. I don't like it. I like being in the office. I like you said, the energy that I have when I'm there, because it's just different than being at home. When I'm home, I want to cook something. I want to do the laundry. I want to read a book. I mean, I don't want to focus.
Well, your home is your reprieve. That's why it's a struggle to be like, oh, let me set up a place to be productive in the middle of my relaxation place.
Exactly. So that takes me to the number one thing is have a designated spot. If you don't, I know that a lot of individuals, you, Taylor, there's a lot of people that are in a smaller space. And so it's like,
I'm in a tiny space. Are you kidding? I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment.
You don't have like an extra bedroom that nobody's using to go and, convert into your virtual office.
Right.
But I would say find something, a corner, something that is just designated, honored space for you. You've got to have that, whatever it is. And even if it's a corner of the bar in your kitchen, and you tell everybody else, this is my workspace, do not touch, whatever you have to do, but you need that designated space. Highly encourage you not to make it your bed.
Probably not the most productive
or
place.
Even the corner of the sofa. Probably not the best.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
I mean, and honestly, I bought I've had this little desk work area in my apartment. This is where I do my YouTube videos or whatever, but I have this little table. I paid $29 for the top and $4 for the legs from IKEA, and I've had this desk here since, I don't know, probably the last year. Yeah, like a year ago. But yeah, I mean, this is my space. This is my workspace, and it's not very big, but it is the designated area. I mean, it's probably 4x4
exactly
little space in my apartment.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is where I work. This is where my computer is. This is where I come. I work. I put both of my computers up, whatever. But yeah, it's I had to, and ironically, I was at Matt's house last week. So it was he has a work computer or a workstation computer for him, in the living room. And then he has a fun computer in his room. Mm-hmm. So it was he stayed in the living room. I stayed in his room. We both had our spaces, but they were both still designated workspaces. Yeah. So it was easy. And there was a door there, so we could shut the door.
Yeah, I think that has been my saving grace, is having the podcast room that is also upstairs. Upstairs, there are no TVs. I have to actually physically walk down a hall and down the steps to go to the kitchen, which I'm less likely to do.
Yes, that is so good.
I mean, I'm away from it. And then the TV, that was the second thing I was going to say. Turn off the TV. And I know if you've got kids, that's kind of hard to do if you're in a small space. But try to keep the TV off of something you're going to want to watch.
Oh, for sure.
If you've got kids watching it, what are the odds that you're going to want to watch, Sesame Street or whatever the heck kids are watching? But try to pick something.
Moana.
Yeah. Or like Micah, Frozen and Frozen 2 over and over and over. And I'm
I
like,
love it. He's so
I
sweet.
know.
How old is he now?
14, right? 14 months.
Oh my gosh.
So smart and so cute. Oh my gosh. I'm just loving
And
it.
so sweet. I just love
So
him.
sweet.
Yeah. So no
Little
TV.
fun.
I would say like classical music, or if you can work with a podcast on in the background or whatever, like do something that you know that you're going to be productive with. I was reading a post on LinkedIn about working from home, and somebody said like lyricless music. So music that doesn't have words, because those words can distract you. Yeah. I mean, it just depends on what I'm doing. If I'm doing like admin work, like adding in, stuff into the system or something where it doesn't take a lot of brain power. Yeah, then I can hear like a podcast or something. But when I'm calling or sending emails or something that requires more of my brain power, then yeah, I listen to like just music.
And I'm the opposite. It's complete and utter silence. Silence all day long up here. But you have to remember, I have a big team. And just so you guys know, we only get a certain amount of time on this, and then it's going to lock us out. So I just want to say I miss everybody, and this is so weird. In the event that it does kick us out.
Okay.
Because I know.
Does it tell you how much time we get?
Well, it should have already done it, and it didn't. So
interesting. Because when I recorded one with Tomas, I had an hour.
He pays for that then, because you only get 40 minutes with Zoom for free.
Okay.
So that was my next thing is your third thing when you're at home. Zoom, most everybody knows what this is by now, but if you don't know, get on it and connect with I just read something yesterday, I think it was on LinkedIn, an employee working from home, and said, nobody from my office has called to check on me. None of my peers have called to check on me. He feels so isolated. So just remember that people want to connect with people. And even if you've got a lot of people in your home, your peers may not. So get on Zoom, talk to people at least once a day.
Do you know how many minutes we have? Because I want to say something about that too.
I don't.
Dang it, we're the worst.
And the reason I don't know is because it's a weekend and they may not hold us to that 40 minutes.
Ooh, okay.
Because Friday night, when I was with my friends, we went almost 2 hours.
Cut you off?
No, it went to almost 2 hours. So I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
It's only supposed to be 6 minutes.
What was I going to say? So yes. So outside of the whole working from home thing too, like I was talking about this the other day, and it's like, what has this taught us as a society going forward, as far as like how affectionate we are, even if it's not like, even if it's just platonic, like we need interaction, we need touching, because we've been watching, we've been watching the news a lot. So it's like, they're like suggesting that maybe we stop doing handshakes or stop doing hugs and maintain the 6 feet. And I'm like, no, we're human, we're tribal. Like we need that physical connection with people, even when it's not, even if it's just platonic, even if it's familial, like your mom, your dad. Like I hug my parents, you hug your parents, like I kiss my parents on the cheek, like all of those things. I couldn't imagine living the rest of my life not doing that because of this.
I know. I don't think that's going to happen. I think handshakes might go.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to.
We're going to go Howie Mandel fist bumping. Is that what we're going to do?
I don't know, but I think this is going to change things, at least for a while, for handshaking. I really do. It's one thing to hug somebody. It's another to touch their hands. And we don't know where those hands have been. Did they just pump gas? Did they, we don't even know. So I think there could be something here.
I will say it's definitely made me a lot more conscious of the things that I touch everywhere and anywhere, especially when, now the only place you can go is the grocery store. Yeah. So,
and just think about the handles to open the freezer, or you pick up a package of something but you don't know who else picked it up, and we would have never thought about these things before, and now it's like, oh, who touched that? I don't know. Oh, hand wipes. Now we're just pumping all these awful chemicals in our body through these
using hand sanitizer all the time.
Me too. And I got
drying
rid of all of that stuff, and now it's back in the house.
Well, and like Chloe's dad used to be like a super like OCD, like hypochondriac about hand sanitizer. He's always using hand sanitizer, always doing it. And I was like, oh my gosh, why are you freaking out? Like, and then now, like, I'm doing it too.
Oh yeah, we all are. You can't even buy it. Everybody's doing it. So I was going to think, other tips. Oh, designated work hours. If you can. I know that you guys have kids at home, most of you, and I know that's rocking your world in all kinds of ways. But if you can designate 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the afternoon, and maybe whatever you need to do to get that, employers are going to have to be understanding and offer a little bit of grace around parents right now, because
and I think that more and more people, every client that I've talked to is in the same boat, right? And if they have kids, and for the most part, a lot of people, like, population wise, a lot of people have kids, so they know that their kids are at home. So it's like, you know what, if you hear a dog or cartoons in the background, like, you're going to be a little more understanding and accommodating to the fact that I have children at home, because you have children at home too.
Well, and the thing is if there is an employer out there that doesn't get it and they're not accommodating or offering grace in those situations, you probably don't even be working for them, because I mean, what are you going to do? Our options are very limited right now. Very, very limited.
So limited.
I'm not impacted at all by that, because I don't have kids at home anymore. But I can't even imagine working full-time from home and having my kids full-time in the house.
Shapiro, what if you had so I only have one. What if you had like 3
or 4? I have friends that are working parents that have 4. And, if they're a little bit older, I suppose the older ones can maybe help with the younger ones.
I guess, but they're still just as loud and in your face and making food and asking you questions. Twice. I'm recording a 1-hour podcast. Twice my 5-year-old has come up to me. I can only imagine what it's going to be like next week.
Seriously. I know. Yeah. So I'm going to be honest, I'm probably going to have to go downstairs just because I think Micah will be waking up. And
that's fine.
I know I miss
Have fun, Coco. Enjoy it.
I told her, I'm like, don't rush over here at 8:00 in the morning.
Do not come pick him up right when he wakes up.
I'm like, you have things to do. Go do something. She's like, I can go to the store. Like, my only option.
I guess. What else am I going to do, Mom? Yeah, I know. Like, literally yesterday I got ready to go to the grocery store.
You
It's
did?
been that long. I did. I curled my hair and everything.
No. No.
I'm like, I
put a little makeup on today for you.
You're so nice. I don't have anything on for you.
One of my employees wanted to do a video, like a thing on like virtual interviews and how to conduct a virtual interview. So he calls me. He's like, can you hop on a Zoom call so we can do this? And I'm like, oh, you're gonna
no. Listen here, you're a boy.
I'm like, I will, yes, but you're gonna need to give me 10 minutes because I gotta go down and look.
I gotta put some eyebrows on, sir.
I gotta put a whole lot of stuff on. So yeah, I had to look like a human. That is another little tip, though. If you do struggle with energy, and if you do struggle to stay kind of in the game
and focused,
get ready. Take a shower. Get ready. Put a little makeup on if you're a female. Put clothes on that make you feel like you're going,
like you're at work.
I'm not doing that, I'll be honest.
I've been wearing pajamas. Yeah, I literally roll out of bed and come over to my computer. But I also don't struggle with that aspect. Like, I had to work.
I thought I would, but I'm not.
Yeah, me too. And especially because you and I both get ready for work in the morning. Like, that's a part of our routine. That's something that we do. But literally, like the other day, he had to work late, and I was like, "Oh, cool! I can just keep working the whole time." Like, it didn't bother me at all, and I literally rolled out of bed, had a cup of coffee, and then just started working. Like, it was. I mean, that is one thing that like I can appreciate is like the ability to just eliminate that 2-hour process in the morning of getting up, getting ready, putting on clothes. Like,
I'm embarrassed to even say this, but I'm going to do it. So I used to get up in the morning, early, 5, sometimes even 4, journal, work out, eat breakfast. I would do all these things in the morning. Dude, I'm not even getting out of bed until 8:15.
I don't get out of bed until 7:30.
I don't even know who I am right
Me
now.
neither. And I'm not going to bed until like 11.
Who are you? And
I
what
feel
are
like
you
an
doing?
animal.
Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't have to go anywhere. So
I know. And it's like I can just roll out of bed and start talking to my clients on LinkedIn and emails. Like, what do I need? I don't need anything. It's so great.
It is kind of nice.
I know.
All right,
it is nice, but I still miss people.
I miss you. I miss
I
seeing
miss you too. I
I
know.
miss having guests and seeing them too.
Can we have after the quarantine? Can we have a post-quarantine party?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay,
Definitely.
we need that. We need that because you need to meet
Definitely.
Matt, and we need to see each other, and we need to see all of our people.
If you guys are truly quarantining and not seeing anybody at all for the next 2 weeks,
Yeah.
I think we're gonna do the fight. What's the guy that's fighting?
Yeah.
But the only people who are allowed to be here are people who have truly quarantined
No,
for the last 14
we're
days.
truly quarantining.
Like my
The
mom
only thing we've
probably
done
not to
is
be here because she won't follow the rules. She won't stay home. She's gone to
what is she doing?
whatever's open, wherever she can go is where
Oh
she goes.
shit.
I'm like, Becky, you're the reason that we're like trying to like quarantine so we don't pass shit to people over 60. Dude, stay home.
She's like, whatever. I don't care. I have
gotta
energy. I want to go do stuff.
Bathroom. So anyway.
No, we've been literally Matt and I last week. We stayed home. We went for walks. And we didn't even go to the grocery store last week. We only went yesterday, and we made sure that we went to all of our grocery stores yesterday so that we could get it all done, get it out of the way.
Yeah.
And now we're back at home.
Well, it's not until like the 15th, I think, of April-ish. So it's mid-April. And the quarantine may be lifted by then, and it's not even an issue.
Yeah.
But if it hasn't been, then it's really only people who have been honoring and not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And we are still going to social distance. We're going to make everybody sit 6 feet apart.
Yeah. Get away from me, people.
Try to do that.
We're going to air five.
All right. Well, I missed you. I love you. Everybody
you
out there, stay safe, stay healthy, follow the rules, stay home.
Yes.
Okay, bye.
I love you. Bye.
Figure out how to end it. Stop.